Okay, so good morning. We're going to talk about creating digital formative assessments with Edcite. Um, just so you know, this is the agenda, and if you actually click on the title here, there is a slideshow. And then hopefully you'll get the opportunity to actually work along with me in Edcite. So the first thing would be to go to the Edcite site. If you go to edcite.com, you can see that if you don't have an account, you can click right here. It says join for free, or right down here where it says for teachers, sign up for free. And then you need to make sure that you choose as a teacher, and then you can go ahead and sign up with Google. I actually do have a login already, so I'm just going to log in as a teacher. Again, use my Google because I can't remember any of my passwords. Oh, fantastic. And it'll take you to the beginning here, your home page, basically under that tab. So I believe, oh, okay. Okay, the next thing that I have on the agenda is this quick start guide, which I had made. It says right, sorry, it's reloading. It says right here that you can use the table of contents, that little outline thing over here, to show you what's available. Basically, it's a lot of what we're already talking about, but it's linked in case you're interested. So creating a new class, you would click this green button here and definitely import from Google Classroom. So you can go ahead and choose any Google Classroom and just click import classes. The only thing that I would say as a warning is to make sure that your students are already in your Google Classroom before you do that. Because see, I only have 2 students in here. If I have a class of 24 and then I assign things, the best thing to do would be to go back in and re-import that class after the students have joined so that everyone gets their assignments appropriately. Are there any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay, so using assignment collections. If you go to assignments, and then you could click on collections, this is where all of the previous AIR assessments are. There's also down here science collections, which are basically like, these are all, there's 7 assignments that are 8th grade earth science. I'm sorry, Guinness has decided to sing us the song of his people, and I hope he keeps it quiet. There's also the option here to create your own collection. So you could create a new collection, decide what grade level, what subject you want it to be, and then any assessments that you really like can be stored like by topic or however you set it up. So I would recommend that once you get into things. So say we just go ahead and grab one of these assignments from a collection. Again, it starts with high school at the top and then you scroll down. So here's 3rd grade math. I could assign it right away without even looking at it. I could preview it, in which case it's the preview shows me like basically the teacher answer guide. It shows me which ones are the correct answers. Or I can click up here, go to student view, and this is going to show me exactly what the students are going to see. So then I can preview it, decide which questions I might want, which ones I might not want. If I want to share this with someone, I could send an email sharing this with my team, my co-teachers. I could also click invite. You do have the ability to print them, or if I want to customize it, I could do it here, or I'll show you a different way in a second. Say I want to get rid of some of the questions. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this. If you click the 3 buttons here, you have the option to copy the whole assessment, or you can edit it which would be the same thing as customize on the previous screen. So then these are the questions, and they do have the standard with them because, again, these are error. You can add existing questions from a question bank or ones that you've already made. You can add new questions. You can go ahead and edit the question. So if I look at it and they're asking about Dawn has 1/4 of a whole fraction model and I want to change it to 3/4 or 1/8 or whatever, I can go ahead in here, click on this and edit it before I assign it. I can copy just this question or whichever questions I want, or I can go ahead and trash the questions that I do not want and only leave the ones that I do. And then when I'm ready, as long as it says active up here, I can go ahead and click assign and choose a class to assign it to. The important thing about assigning to Google Classroom is you have to make sure that you click this little box here that says assign to Google Classroom. And I know I signed up with my Google Classroom because it has that happy little Google G right there. And I go ahead and click assign, and it's assigned. Are there any questions about assigning from a collection?
No questions yet.
Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is finding an existing assignment or assessment. So if we go to assignments and the library, and again, when I say assignment, that means that there's more than one question in it. Formative assessments, that doesn't mean that you have to have 50 questions or whatever, but just more than one. So I could search for anything and then just do it by grade and subject level. But I would recommend, especially if you know exactly what you're looking for, that you look by standard. So I clicked it over here to browse by standard. Then you can choose what subject, what grade level, all the way down to which standard. And this one doesn't have anything, which is fantastic. Probably because it's science. And I know 5th grade is a tested year. There's some here. So again, it's exactly the same thing. I could favorite this assessment if I like it. I can click over here and look at which standards are in this assignment. Again, I could assign it, preview it. Those 3 dots are where I could see the student view. I could customize it, or I could just move it to one of the folders if I want to keep it for later. And again, customizing is just like editing. And then that note was just saying that this belongs to someone else. So if they were to delete questions, I would lose those questions unless I copied them. So again, I can edit the questions, copy them, or delete them. And then let's see how it says draft. I would have to make it active before I'm able to assign it. Are there any questions about finding an existing assignment?
No questions.
Okay. I'm so sorry. There's a squirrel outside. Okay, find an existing question. So I'm going to go to questions, and then I'm going to go to the question bank, which it kind of defaults to. Again, you have the option to search for anything using your grade and your subject level and a keyword, or to browse by standard. Again, choosing Ohio, and I'm so sorry they're barking. Hello. For some reason, it's not working. But anyways, you can see it looks a little bit different. You could see that, I don't know why there's 11 standards for one question. That's kind of interesting. But this one only has one standard. I can see what it is. I can click right here to have it show me the full question. And then I have the option to copy it instead of assign it, to view it as a student, or again, to invite, like to send that to someone to share it with them. So say that I do like this one, I go ahead and click copy. Then I have the option to actually edit it if I want to right now. So I could go ahead and change the numbers or change whatever it is. Again, I'm in edit. And then when I'm done and I fixed it the way that I want, I just click save. Then it will give me other options that I can view the question. I can continue editing it. I can create a new question. I can go to my questions, which is where it was copied to, or I could go to my home page. I'm just going to go ahead and click out of that. So again, I'm going to go back to the question bank.
So there was a question that says, where was the teacher's key? Yeah, I think it's answer key.
Okay. I don't know why that's not working right now. It might be my computer though. This is the student view. There it is. If you click check answer, I don't know if you saw when I did that. So I clicked on view. And so this is the student view. And if I click check answer, there's the teacher's. Wait a second. I would assume that that would be the answer key, but I don't know.
I think the answers are at the bottom that said expected answers.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So are there any other questions on copying questions?
There's a question that says, is there a check answer for the students? I'm thinking she's asking if it's automatically graded.
When they submit it, it will show them whether they got it correct or not as they answer each question. And you can also turn that off if you choose to. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, she said good.
Okay. Okay, so go ahead and, all right. Okay, creating a question. This might seem daunting to you. I know it was to me in the beginning, but actually, okay. So where it says questions, if you go to create question, you can see that these are all the different types of error questions that they have. So dot plot, drag and drop. You have all these different options. They show you an example here. You can also click where it says sample, and it'll kind of show you what one looks like. So they have two passages, and then they have a question that they have to answer. I was going to pick multiple choice. So create batch seemed like if you're importing it from like Excel or something like that. I just want to create a question. So you can see here, it says enter optional stimulus instructions, read the passage and answer the questions that follow, if that's what I want them to do. So I could put a passage title here and then copy the passage in. If I choose to do that, obviously I don't have a passage off the top of my head. So again, I'm not trying to create copyright violations or anything like this, but this is obviously just used for, are you kidding me? Well, I don't remember my password. This is fantastic. You're just using it for your class, so it should be okay. I'm going to be resetting my password, and this is a horrible thing to be doing in the middle of a webinar, so I apologize. There we go. Why did that not happen anyways? Sorry about that. So hopefully you're familiar with ReadWorks or something similar. Say I choose 4th grade and I choose this article. You can assign them online, and then the students, it's kind of like think Circa in a way, although not as focused on the writing, but they can listen to it. But instead, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, paste it in there. If I want, I can go ahead and copy the title. Ooh, I obviously copied too much stuff.
Cheryl wants to know, can you copy the audio with it from the ReadWorks?
No, because no. But the good news is, so I just pasted that in like this. And then if I want to, I can go ahead and click this where it says number selected paragraphs. Oh, I have to highlight it first, sorry. I forgot about that. And then go up and click on here. And you see how it numbered the paragraphs? So it's a little bit easier to talk about. If I click on this little edit pen, you could see that I go in here. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead into one of my, what was this, simple audio recorder, and start reading this. Should kids be paid for doing well in school? Need money? Then study up. Some cities are offering kids cash for doing well in school. And then go ahead and stop recording that, assuming that I actually read the whole thing. And then I could go ahead and add audio. You see that they have an audio library of certain things. Like this, someone obviously did a read aloud on this book. Or I can go ahead and upload my own audio. They do want you to make sure that you're not breaking any of their terms of service or whatever. Today is the 18th, so that should be this one. And you see that it's up there. You can't really listen to it yet. Let me go ahead and click OK. And then I think I have to click preview to be able to see it right here. And start reading this. Should kids be paid for doing well in school? Need money? Then study up. So you can see that it's very easy to insert audio. I could also, that was the, let's say if this is the first tab, I could also have a second tab. We could say go ahead and go to YouTube. And go to Storyline Online and go ahead and I was like, there's no way that those are those videos. Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead and find a cute little video. Harry the Dirty Dog, Betty White. Can it get better than that? Go ahead and again, I can't just enter it in here. I have to go ahead and click the pen. And you see how it says click to insert video from library. These are ones that have already been added. I'm going to go ahead and add my own, add it from YouTube. So I can go ahead and just click and add it there. I could add a video URL if it was somewhere else, or I could go ahead and upload a video that I made from Screencastify or Loom or Screencast-O-Matic or whatever. So you can see that it's added in there. That should be it. Is it not? Oh. Oh, there it is. I have to click add video. I knew there was a button somewhere. And there it is. So again, the first tab could be read a story. The second tab could be watch a video and then compare the two. Or that could be an example of a fourth grade lesson. This could be an example of a lower grade lesson. This is a multiple choice question. So I could enter instructions and a prompt. So enter the question. Again, if I just start typing, if I just click here and start typing, all I can do is type. If I go ahead and click on that pen, then I can add a picture. I could, add a word and a picture, say if they're in kindergarten. I could add audio, so I could add a sentence and then go ahead and read it to students if they're younger or if they have trouble reading. I could add a video clip. I could add a passage, although I don't know why I would add a passage in a multiple choice question. Or I could add a link to something if I wanted to. These are all options that you have at any point. So I could go ahead and say this is for a younger kid. They already have some images that are in there. I could go ahead and search for dog. If I like this one, I could select it and then go ahead and click OK. So you can see that my first choice, or that's actually, I wrote it for the question. Sorry. But I also have the same thing for the choices. I can go ahead and add things. So I know I did that wrong, but I'm just trying to show you that you have options, that you can customize this for your class, make it however you want it. Again, I'm in editing right now. I could go ahead and preview to see how the students would see it. They're able to have their passage read to them. They click over here, they watch the video, pretend this is a question, and then I had actual answer choices. Once I'm actually happy with what it looks like, I probably should name this. Just so I know what it is. Once I'm actually happy with it, I can go ahead and save it. I could share it with my team or my co-teacher. I could copy it, do whatever. Are there any questions about creating questions?
Nothing yet.
Again, when you look over at this, it looks like it's daunting. Remember always that you can go find a similar question and go ahead and just edit it, especially until you get more used to things. But using other resources, I could actually even go out and find a dollar bill picture and add it into that passage if I want to. Using resources makes this not as scary, I think, and especially knowing that you can customize it even for younger kids or kids that have trouble reading, hopefully. So now that I've created my question, I go ahead into my questions. These are all the questions that I've copied. Like this is the one that I copied earlier. These are ones that I had from before. This is my demo question that I just made with my question being dog. I know that's not appropriate, but hopefully you get the gist. So I can expand it so that we can see what it is. I could have added standards to it. I can view it, I can edit it, I can share it, I can invite others so that they can make themselves a copy or they could use it, or I could copy it. But for right now, what I want to do is make an assignment. I'm going to collapse it. So say I'm going to make an assignment, and this is going to be appropriate to that assignment. So it's this one, and then 3 questions is all that I want them to do. So now that I have those 3, I can go ahead and click assign. It's going to ask me to name the assignment so that I can differentiate it from others. I could type in whatever directions I feel like I need. Again, if I want anything special added, I'm going to click on that pen so I could add a picture, I could add audio directions, have a little screencast explaining whatever it is that I'm doing, if I wanted to. This is my last chance to look at my questions. If I decide I want to edit them, change them at all, maybe I like this one and I'm going to copy it and then change things a little bit so I have 4 problems instead of 3. Or I say, you know what, I actually decided I only want 2 problems because I don't want to overwhelm kids. I go ahead and trash one. You can see that I don't have an assign button. That's because this is still a draft. I haven't actually made it active. So once I go ahead and click make it active, then I have the option to assign it. And again, I cannot forget, because if I click this and I click assign, it didn't go anywhere. I have to go ahead and click assign to Google Classroom and then go ahead and assign it.
Okay, I don't know if you got the question that was out there. It said, can you create several types of questions and assign these to 3 different groups?
Yes. I don't know that that it'll show up that way in Google Classroom, but it will show up if you just put Edcite in Google Classroom. They'll all go to Edcite, but you can give each kid different assignments. So say that I wanted, again, these are in my questions. I wanted to give all these questions to my highest group. I don't know. I think you might have to make the assignment first. Is what I'm thinking. I don't know. We'll find out. If I click create new, oh, no, that's not what I want. Oh, that's because I'm under my assignments instead of my questions. I'm a ding-dong. So anyways, this is the assignment that I just made, this demo assignment. Okay. So if I want to go ahead and assign, if I click over here where it says assign, you see I have the option to assign to classes. Instead, I could assign it to students. So you could see that I could choose just these 2 students and then go ahead and assign it. And then the next time that those 2 students go into Edcite, they'll get that assignment. I could go and instead assign this one and click the 3 buttons where it says assign, click assign to students, and then choose these 2 students to give it to and click assign. So again, instead of assigning in the first column where you assign it to classes, you click the second where it says assign to students and then choose which students and then click assign. I don't know that that sends them a Google Classroom notification, though, is what I'm saying. So you might want to go into Google Classroom and just put edcite.com, and then when they go in there, it will give them whichever individual assignments you've assigned to them. Does that answer your question?
She said, got it, thanks.
Okay. Trying to figure out. Yeah, that was actually my next thing, is assign to selected students. So basically, that's about it. Right here where it says assignments and then create assignment, I feel like this is more of an advanced thing, because it's saying you can create a new question, which is exactly what we had just done. It'll look exactly the same. So if you're doing new questions, that's cool. Otherwise, it says find existing, and then these are your questions that you already have. This is the question bank, which to me is a little bit harder to find. I guess I like to go into the question bank where you can search more by standard and stuff like that. But it is doable. Or you can look at your previous assignments and then kind of cannibalize questions from there.
Cheryl would like to know what the reports is.
Oh, reports? Okay. So first I'm going to go to the home screen. because once you assign an assignment, you'll see automatically see live progress. So while your students are working on it, you can go ahead and click on it, and it'll show you like who's getting things correct, who's getting things incorrect. Everyone missed number 7, so I might want to go back over that. Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry, the mail just came. So you can view that in live time. Max. If you do reports, then you're gonna have to choose which assignment, and then go ahead into it. And then you can see the average amount of time taken on each of these questions. I don't even know if we answered on any of these, was 0. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose a different assignment. Oh, those are the ones that I just assigned. That's why, because no one's done them yet. Okay, so once you go ahead and choose an assignment that someone's actually completed, you can go ahead and see, like most people got this one right. You can, if you go ahead and right here, it says that average time was 34 seconds on that question. Average time taken on this question was 5 minutes and 1 second. So I might want to look at question 3 and see why it took so long. Question 6 took 18 minutes and 9 seconds. Wow. So I can go ahead down here. You can see that this is my aggregate data. And so it's going to show me, based on the questions, how everybody did. I can go ahead up here, look by question. You can see that most people did good except for on question 7 and 8 and 9. And by standard, if there is anything, I might have to grade the assignment. I don't know. If you click grade assignment, oops, see, there you go. If there's anything highlighted in yellow, that means that it needs to be graded. So I can go ahead, click here, and see how it auto grades all of them except for obviously question 9 needs to be graded, and she didn't answer anything, so that would be 0 points. So then you could see that highlighting went away because I did go ahead and score it. You could grade by student. You can also grade by question if you have to grade a whole bunch of them so that you're familiar with it, and then go back and see if that changes about the reports. I can also print them if I need to. I could print the whole report or only the table if I need to bring data somewhere. I don't remember if I told you guys, but you can actually print the assignments if you need to. If I were to go into an assignment, you can see where it says select view. I'm editing this assignment. I could view it as a student. I could see the print view, and then go ahead and get things how I like them, and then go ahead and print it. You see how it'll have the name, etc., and then just go ahead and click print. I would advise that the majority of the time that you have them do Edcite assignments online, because the purpose of it really is to give them frequent air-like practice. So when it comes time for the air, they're actually very comfortable with the tools that they would use. You can also print the answer key if you would like. Go ahead and print that. Were there any questions?
The question is, if you were to share the report with students to discuss answers, would that be a privacy issue?
That might be a Tiffany or a Greg question. I'm not sure.
So you can't share the report individually? Do they not get their own individual?
They each get their own. They do, and they see it at the end of their assignment. I could totally share the top part here and talk about this because you can see that there's no student names yet. It's when I scroll down further when I see the names down here. But I could totally share this part and talk about this and say, okay, why did everyone miss number 1 and number 8 and number 9?
If you were having a data conversation, what I would do is have the students come up, pull up their report and talk about it from their computer. So that way they know how to get to that too. That might be one way to talk about that data and have individual data conversations without compromising anybody else's information. I don't know if Greg can, agree or disagree.
I'm sorry, what was that question again?
If you sharing a report with the students, it has the whole class information at the bottom.
Yeah,
that would be a
students and how they
privacy issue
did.
they're asking.
Okay, yeah, you don't want to be sharing other individual students' responses with other students. The only way would be, yeah, if you did mask those student identifiable information. Showing class like average trends is fine.
So this part at the top is okay?
Yeah, because there's nothing identifiable.
Mm-hmm.
It's just number of students that got something right or wrong. That's fine, but you don't want to show an individual students, okay, Bobby and Joey got number 1 right, but the rest of you didn't. So you don't want to do that.
Okay. And I feel like this is a good basic starting point, so that you could talk about question 1 and why did everyone get it wrong. And then maybe even like a lot of people everybody got question 6 right, but why did it take you 18 minutes and 9 seconds? Because obviously you knew how to do it. So why did it take so long? So this might be a good general spot. Yeah, but probably wouldn't want to show that. Did that answer your question, or did it just create more questions?
No, she said thank you.
Okay. So basically, again, your home screen has your classes and your assignments. Some people have a click to recent assignment, and then they're like, I don't know where my classes went. Just go ahead and click here. Under assignments, we have all those options that we talked about. Under questions, we have the options that we talked about also. Under reports, we just talked about it. Your roster. Basically, it's your classes. You can archive classes, you can delete classes. So if I were to click into it, these are my students. Say someone leaves, I could go ahead and get rid of them. But honestly, if I'm in Google Classroom, all I have to do here is click Sync Google Classroom. Which is this, so if I get a new student that wasn't in here and isn't getting their assignments, I just click on roster, choose the class, sync to Google Classroom, and everything should update. And that's basically about it. I know if you're like K through 2, there's a lot of information and a lot of questions, grade 3 and up because of the air tests. If you're K through 2, you might have more problems finding things, I guess what I would say. There is the choice you can search here for teachers. If you know a teacher that is a kindergarten teacher or something like that, you could go ahead and, so see here, I could look through these teachers and see, I don't know if I'm going to load. You can see that if they've created anything, any assignments or not. I could go to content. And again, these are just different assignments. So I could go ahead and click and look at it here, it's going to give me the student view. And I can see if I feel like that's appropriate. Or I could go back through and go to the assignment library, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you do make an assignment and you want to be able to share it with other people, you could go ahead and, I believe, publish it. Not that I would want to publish this because it doesn't make any sense, but see where it says share? If I go ahead and do this and then click share, it'll go into the assignment library, and then other people will be able to find it and use it. Are there any questions?
Not so far.
Okay, because if not, I think that I'm pretty much done. I mean, I can hang out, and if you want to take some time right now to explore Edcite, make yourself an assignment. I'm happy to hang out and give you any help if you'd like. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much it.
Just one last question. Did anybody ask about taking these grades and putting them into progress book? Rachel?
No, nobody did ask that.
Okay, because I
No.
just want to remind you, if I would do what Rachel said and assign this through Google Classroom and put the grade in Google Classroom. That way you could just upload it to progress book if you wanted to take a grade for that assignment. So you don't, Cheryl, you don't need to do that, but if you wanted to give a quiz that way and have the grade count as a grade in the class, I would put the grade in the Google Classroom to keep it streamlined and then just upload it from there. So I didn't know if that was going to be a question later, but I wanted to make sure I said that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, because that was very important. I can't believe I forgot that one. What I wanted to ask you is that when you said when you sync it with the Google Classroom, is that when it puts the grades into the progress book?
It'll automatically, I mean.
No, first, Rachel, I think so it's just going to be a link to Edcite. You're going to have to, when they say that they're done with the assignment in Classroom, you are going to have to put the grade that they got in Google Classroom.
Oh, manually.
Manually. And that way, if you have them all in one
Okay.
place, if you're keeping your class that way and you want to keep them all in one place, even the ones that you're not counting as a grade for progress book, they always know to go there to find their grades because they may not think to go back to Edcite to see what grade they got on that assignment. But if you put the grade in the Classroom, go ahead, Rachel.
If you go under reports and you click grade assignment, I have to choose the assignment, obviously. So there's only one that's been submitted. There is a button here that says sync grades with Google Classroom. So I could go ahead and hit that. And it says error. So you might be right. Or it could just be my computer because I tried to use the other one and I have to go to a building to be able to log into it. So. Yeah, nobody did this one either. And again, if there's highlighting, that means that I have to grade it. So say that I give her 1 point because I actually looked at it instead of just being an awful teacher. Yeah, this one does not have the option to send it back to Google Classroom. So sorry about that. But if you use something like dual list or the tab resize, and you have your Edcite here and your Google Classroom as the next tab, Sorry, that felt like it was like. And I use this. This one is called tab resize. The other one is called dual list, and I choose split screen. Oh, I did it the wrong way. This is why I like tab resize, because I have to go here. I can undo it as well. So then I can have my Edcite over here with my grades and my Google Classroom over here, and go ahead and put my grade over here. And then when I'm done, I can go back in and undo it, and it'll put everything back together. And I feel like you had a question about when I said share. For this crazy assignment I made with the dog and the video and et cetera, et cetera. If I click share here, it's gonna put it in the public library so that everyone can use it. Pretty sure that if I click, I could just go ahead and manage. Assign to more. No, I could go ahead and view it and as a student. So say I had assigned. Did I ever assign that anywhere?
Looks like your demo class.
Right here. So I could go ahead and view it as a student. And then invite. So this is where I could go ahead and share this with my co-teacher. Oh, you know what? And I just put her email address where it says name, because I'm a ding dong. And then send her an invitation, and it'll email her with the link to this. So if you were talking about like a co-teacher, if you wanted them, then they could edit it, edit some of the questions, and then assign it through Google Classroom to their specific students, if you would like to do it that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, that was very easy.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole point of Edcite, really, is that it's supposed to be easy for teachers so that you want to use it, and then you'll be able to benefit from the data. Going back into an assignment. If I go ahead and click on the cogwheel and then open the settings, this is where you can add student tools, like if you want them to be able to use a calculator or a reference sheet, and then you'll have to upload one from like the Edcite. If you want them to hide the answer details, so you don't want them to know if they got it right or wrong, then you would click it here. Don't give them their scores, you would click it here. Don't tell them when the teacher graded it. I don't know why you would do that, but whatever. You can have a custom note when they submit it. Again, this is all through the cogwheel. In the
Rachel,
student
can
view.
I ask you a question?
Sure.
Hey, when you said don't allow answers, where was that?
It was under student report.
Okay. Does that mean that once they choose their answer, they cannot change their answer?
No, once they submit it.
Okay.
When they submit it, they get a little report that says, you got number 1 right, and you got number 2 wrong, and you got number 3 right.
Okay.
So if you don't want Johnny to take it and then turn around and tell Billy, hey, guess what? Number 1 is this, number 2 is this, and number 3 is that. You can go ahead and hide that report until you're ready to talk about it with your whole class later.
And doing it this way, there's no way for them to all of a sudden, because that's how they were doing things circa. They would rush through it, figure out, and then they would go back and put the correct answers in and get 100%.
Right. Right. And I'm pretty sure that there's another one. You can randomize the order. I'm pretty sure there's another one. Here it is, control retakes. Disallow assignment retakes. You just click that right there, and then they can't take it more than once. So if they
Okay.
rush through and they get them all wrong, it is what it is. So once
Okay.
you set this up the way that you want it, allow answer checks after each question. No, I don't want to do that. So I would just kind of go through here, enforce a time limit if you want to. Show elapsed time to students so that they're used to it, so it doesn't freak them out when they get to the air test. Once you have it the way that you want it to be, then you just click Save Changes. And then for this assignment, that's going to be the way that it is. Again, I just went into my assignments after I made it, and then go to the cogwheel. And these are all the things that I turned on. Or I can go ahead and open all settings and then look at it again. Track student focus, track whether student stays on the assignment tab during the assignment. So you know how they click to a different tab? That's a good one. So it's basically just something you need to play around with and look at. But
And I just want to say there are a limited amount of air tests that are out there. There are only so many that have been created. So this would be a great place to go into those air tests and maybe change them to a story that you found from Think Circa that's good, and then create the questions according to the air type questions that would go with that story. So we definitely need to build a library for air type questions that you could be asking as a thought if you're using those Think Circa stories.
And again, remember, if I were to take a 4th grade ELA and then I edit it and I change the stories and do whatever, make the questions appropriate, etc. And assign it, always go, that was under collections. I can always go into collections. I make my own collection of all of my 4th grade ELA air practices that I make. You can also, under your assignments, create folders here on the left-hand side. You just add a folder and then add a name to it. And then you can go ahead and put your, like say I wanted to put this, send it to the folder, and then I just choose which one it is. And so it disappeared from over here. If I want to find it, I go over here and there it is. So I can keep my life organized. Are there any other questions or ideas that we want to share with each other?
Not that I see out there.
Yeah, I would say I put the survey in.
Okay.
I just want to thank Rachel for doing this webinar. And I do want you guys to know we will be doing more Google trainings starting in June after everybody has checked out of the buildings, because we didn't want to do them while people were in their rooms checking out and they wouldn't be able to log on because you only have a certain amount of time to get in and get out. So after everybody has cleaned out their rooms, you're going to see a listing of more trainings with Google products and remote learning. So get ready.
That sounded a little ominous.